Yo, what's good, man? What's up, everybody? What's up, man? How's everybody doing, man? Happy Friday, y'all. We back. We back at it again, baby. We back at it again. Welcome in, man. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody out there is having a beautiful day. I hope everyone has had a great week so far, man. Welcome back. How's everybody? I hope everybody's last couple days have been great. I hope everyone had a good Wednesday, Thursday, going into Friday. For me, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we've been home playing zombies. We're doing the Easter egg. I'm finally figuring out the Easter egg without my brother, without my boy Joel. Taking my training wheels off. I'm finally growing up, so I'm learning how to do that. Watching a lot of basketball, obviously, but another thing that I've been really good at again this last 2 weeks, really. I've told y'all I was under the weather for like a good month and a half. It felt like 2 months almost. So my running has really suffered. I'm over here thinking I'm just being a lazy sack of shit. But I really didn't feel good in that time span. And so, this past week, I feel like this past week had really tested me, right? I had planned on running. Let me see when the last time, 3 days. I believe last Saturday. I think it was last Saturday, right? I did Saturday will be the 2nd. It's the 1st. Yeah, so I did a little 5-miler on Saturday, I believe that was. And then 3 days ago, I did 3.1. 2 days ago, I did another 4.21. And today, I did a 4.6. And, I'd planned on, because I ran Saturday or whatever day that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Saturday was I ran. So I took Sunday and Monday off. Ran Tuesday, Wednesday. Rested yesterday, and went for a run again today, and I'm gonna run again tomorrow. But I guess really the moral of the story is getting back into it. By the way, all the people that did the New York City Marathon and attempted it and did it, shout out to y'all. Anyone that does marathons in general, shout out to y'all. Y'all are unbelievable. But yeah, it was nice to really get back into the groove of things, get back into the swing of things. And I guess I hadn't realized, but there's this thing that people like to talk about. It's called a runner's high. For me, it's just like a zone. I don't know why Milo's bugging out right now. But I just get into a zone, and it just almost feels like for me, it feels like I'm on autopilot. Like I'm just running on autopilot. And time starts to really fly. And I didn't realize that, until I ran the 5 miles on Saturday, that I hadn't had that feeling in a little bit. I think it's something that you really get when you're running more than 3 to 4 miles is when it really starts to kick in and you really get that runner's high. But yeah, man, it was great. I feel great right now. Legs are a little sore, feet are a little bit sore, but it's a great feeling. We're getting back out there. But that was the part. I felt like this week was testing me because, like I said, I'd planned on running Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off, and then run Friday, Saturday. Excuse me. And it rained on 2 of these days. And today I'll speak on today because it just happened. I walked Milo. It looked like it already rained. And it wasn't raining at the time. It wasn't even drizzling. So I was like, all right, just put on like a little long sleeve t-shirt. I put sweats on instead of shorts. Like running pants. And I was out of there, right? Put a little bucket hat on. And I was out. And as I'm going, it starts pouring. It starts pouring. I didn't have my rain jacket on. I didn't have anything, so I was just fucking in there. Meanwhile, the other day, I had my rain jacket on, and it didn't rain. So, go figure. It drizzled a little bit, but it wasn't really anything crazy. But yeah, this week was a test, and I'm not saying I passed, but I got through it. And so I still have tomorrow's run, so we'll see how that goes. And then yeah, man, yeah. I hope everybody's had a great week so far. Let's take a listen to this.
Well, this past Wednesday night in Game 1, Michael Jordan put on a three-point shooting exhibition and a stunning performance, but taking too many threes can hurt his overall performance, according to Michael.
My three-point shooting is something that I don't want to excel at because it takes away from all phases of my game. My game is a fake drive to the hole, penetrate, dish off, dunk or whatever. And when you have that mentality, as I found out in the first game, of making threes, you don't go to the hole as much. You go to the three-point line and you start sitting there waiting for someone to find you. And that's not my mentality. And I don't want to create that because it takes away from my other parts of my game.
So there was Michael Jordan after Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the Portland Trailblazers when he had 6 3-pointers in the first half. Really showed how far he had come as a shooter from when he first came into the league, shooting damn near like 12% or something like that, something crazy. But talking about not wanting to settle for 3-point shots is not something he wants to excel at in his game because it takes away from some of the other things that he does on the basketball court. And that's going to be the theme that'll tie together the show for today, right? So before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really, really helps the channel out. Trying to take this to the moon, as y'all know. And welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the 3-point shot, the 3-ball today, which is what the NBA has turned into, right? I think, we're getting a little bit further away from the start of it, so there's a lot less of the conversation, and it's more so now, you have to put up this many threes, or you have to shoot this, or you got to do that in order to compete in this league. But I do have some questions on whether or not that's a reality or not, right? So before we get into that topic, right, we'll take a look at. We gotta look at this, man, because exactly what Jordan was speaking on right there. He was such a gifted athlete. Settling for 3-point shots takes that away, and right here we have an example of one of the most athletic players we have ever seen in Ja Morant. So let's take a look at this.
Morant gets the step. Morant.
Golly.
The spin and finish. That was saucy.
Watch this one. Up, spin cycle, hang, finish on the other side with the left. That is pretty. And look at his eyes immediately back to the rim where he's at. The amount of hang time and ground he covers, or I should say airspace he covers. And this isn't easy against Claxton, who's trying to be vertical on the play.
Memphis controls. Right now it's 5-on-4. Claxton, the last one to get up. Morant cut. A human highlight reel.
Ja Morant, you run out of words to describe what he can do. Going for the crank and then spins midair. The smooth finish. This is unreal. Look at that. It all in one.
I mean, what are we talking about, bro? I mean, like, what? bro, like, it's like, what do you even say? This guy is unbelievable. I mean, he dead ass stopped. He put it up, spun, and then, you know, being in such a 3-point heavy league, right? And we have athletes in the NBA still. It takes away some of those moments, right? When people settle, when players decide to settle for threes. But let's look a little bit ahead, because we'll talk about Ja Morant some more in a second, because that was unreal. But I think someone like him, his personality is also unreal, and just a high character person. So let's take a look at this little exchange between him and LeBron James in the middle of Wednesday.
Might have got very close to an offensive foul. He was pushing like an offensive tackle. LeBron alone on an island. LeBron turns in and scores! Boy, they're letting him go. Letting him go. LeBron's got 19.
Under a minute to play.
LeBron again. LeBron all the way. Scores!
So soon after, still flexing on them.
I told you.
There's a ton of contact.
He's an equal opportunity guy.
Yeah, Morant, he's got it. Back and forth we go in the final minute of the first half.
Well, we have a technical here.
Technical foul on Ja.
Ja.
Getting his guys into it. Yeah, give him some.
Ran into the back of LeBron. Ja scores, and then after it goes through.
So let's see. Actually, you know, before we talk about it, let's hear what Ja had to say about the situation.
What is it about this Laker team? It always.
I don't like them. They knocked me out the playoffs. And then last year we, had a game and they came in here and popped it on our home floor when I was in street clothes. So I wasn't a night. I told them that last time too.
You've talked about, over the course of a game, early in the game, you get to figure out.
Let's talk about it. Nah, it's worse.
Has tonight been building since you told LeBron last time, wait till I suit up?
You said what?
Has tonight kind of been building like...
Nah. He was just next on the schedule. Lakers, actually. No, I won't even say him, Lakers. And then, they beat us last time. I didn't get to play like I said last year. They came on our home floor, beat us on our home floor. It was laughing, playing, looking at me, talking. My message was I was in street clothes. This was my first opportunity getting back on the floor playing against them. I bring first, whoever. Then the situation happened, which pretty much got me going.
I'm sorry, Peter Chris.
And, there was Ja. Ja is that dude, right? I think we're at the time now where people aren't, and, I'm sure there are some people that feared LeBron, even though everyone liked to say that they didn't. But I think we're in this generation of players that really go at LeBron James, right? The thing that a lot of old heads complain about in the NBA, oh, that's not tough, they're not going at it. We have players now that will call these guys out by name. And Ja is one of those people, and it brings me back to, when Jayson Tatum when he was 19 years old, right, in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, first possession of the game, forget the dunk, he was in the left corner, I remember it. First possession of the game, he got the ball. He was sizing him up. took the shot. And I said, oh shit, he want the smoke with LeBron. They eventually lost the game, but those little moments, to me, indicate a player that is not afraid of the situation, the moment, or the opponent. And, fast forward, we have John Morant with this exchange. We have Anthony Edwards saying he want to bust LeBron's ass in starting five. We're in that era now where people are looking at LeBron James as though he's vulnerable. As good as he is, as even with the numbers that he puts up. I think players look at him and this team now as, oh, you're vulnerable. You're not unbeatable like you used to be. And that could be a flex for LeBron still, but these kids, they're going at him. And you have to appreciate that. It keeps the spirit of the game alive. Right? All of those little things that we love about basketball, it keeps it alive. And so you like that. And, Ja told on himself right there in that interview, right? When he said he's next on the schedule. He still got to get this media training shit down, because I think that's exactly how he looked at it. And I'm not speculating that off of anything. It's because of what he said. And then he corrected himself right after, right? Oh, no, it's the Lakers was on the schedule. No, he looks at him like, oh, you're competition to me. And I'm sure he's not the only one that isn't a big fan of LeBron. And I know he said, oh, they knocked us out of the conference finals. He was popping shit over here, blah, 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 blah. But, I think the LeBron fans got to understand the same way the Jordan fans got to understand, right? And I know I'm bringing Jordan into this. It's okay for other people to not be a fan of your favorite guy. Like, personalities don't mesh. People come from different worlds. It just is how it is, right? But it's fun to see, and I love to see that out of John Morant, to talk this shit and then back it up, right? To lead his team. That technical foul was on purpose, right? And you love that because he was putting up for his teammates, right? He was putting up for himself. He took the technical to send a message. And what you love about that is, they'll say this when you get into like these alpha male conversations when it comes to the animal kingdom, right? I know some people will say, oh, Ja pushed him and then walked away from him and didn't turn or face him or whatever. But when it comes to animals, sometimes that's a sign of dominance, right? Or trying to assert your dominance. He pushed him. He's like, yeah, I pushed you. I'm gonna get my tech, because LeBron looked at the ref right away anyway, and he just kept it moving. He walked away. He didn't even look at him. Like, you're not even worth my time. That's how it looked to me, right? And for him to do that and then back it up again is the big part. And let's take a look at Scottie Pippen.
On the win tonight.
He snatched that ball from that old man over there. From that old man over there.
Scottie, what turned around?
Bron really is turned into the old man of the league. Like, he really is the old man of the league now. And the same way he said in that Netflix doc, right? The same way he said he doesn't see anyone out there that's gonna take the crown away from him, essentially, right? That's gonna be the top dog. And that, whether that was him sending a message to everyone or whatnot, I think clearly the rest of the league saw it and took notice of it. And certain guys now put that in their brain like, oh, that's what you think of us. Okay, cool. Watch this shit. Right? I mean, he said it. I mean, it's cool if he feels like that, right? That's totally fine. But everyone is now you're able to respond, right? Everyone is able to now respond. But I did want to have a LeBron James conversation because he had a great night. He had a great night that night. He had 39 points, a steal, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 15 of 24 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3, only 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Now, like I said, the title of this episode is To Shoot or Not to Shoot. And I think when it comes to the NBA, right, it's a lot of this copycat stuff, right? And I know last year LeBron spoke a lot about how good he feels his three-point shot is. He's a 40% three-point shooter, which he is this year, 46%, 46.8%, which is unbelievable, right? But he's only averaging 5.1 free throws a night, which is, at this point, the least amount of free throws he's attempted in his career. Up until this point, right? That could go up, it could go down. At what point do we get to say, yeah, you had 39, but it wasn't a great 39? Because he's accomplished that stat line a number of times, right? But for his entire career, he's been the biggest, strongest, fastest, most athletic player on the floor whenever he's on the floor. And he's kind of fallen into this modern NBA of, I'm just going to sit outside and shoot threes, which now takes away the pressure he puts on the rim, putting people in foul trouble, sucking the defense into the paint to be able to get it out to shooters. At what point can we... At what point does it become a bad thing? Right? Because historically, LeBron is methodical. He studies the game. He knows where people are going to get shots. He knows how people are going to get shots. But if you're not the guy that's slot cutting to get a ball to the guy in the opposite corner, if you're not hitting back doors, I mean, who is? And some people will say, oh, he's older now. Athleticism is less, which obviously is true. But here's the thing, right? When he's on the actual basketball court, I'm just looking at him as a basketball player. We could talk about his age after, but if he's still the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, most athletic guy on the floor, yeah, you could say, oh, he's 40. But if that's the case, then he's not using all of his abilities to be able to win these games. And he is settling for 3-point shots. And, the contrast of a player like a Ja Morant who constantly puts pressure on the rim. Yeah, he's developed his jump shot and he could get better. But the contrast of the player that is consistently attacking the rim And the game wasn't close. Like, Josh said in the middle of that interview, like he knew they were going to win the game. There was no point in that game where you genuinely thought that they would lose that game. At least I didn't. So, I'm curious as to, because I know that was a part of their conversation, him and JJ, right? To have LeBron shoot a lot more 3-pointers, that was kind of like a part of the thing. And he's doing it. So let's take a look at what JJ had to say in this press conference.
D'Lo only played 21 minutes tonight. What did you see there? Why did you make the decision in the second half to go away from him?
Again, just level of compete, attention to detail. Some of the things we I've talked with him about for a couple of weeks, and at times he's been really good with that stuff, and other times it's just reverting back to certain habits. But it wasn't like a punishment. It just felt like for us to have a chance to win this game, that was the route we wanted to take.
And so there's JJ talking about D'Lo and the effort that he was making. Honestly, he was really talking about the rest of the team as well too. I want to make that clear. That he was highlighting D'Angelo Russell because he obviously is a player that gets minutes on his team and not getting playing time towards the end of the game. And I think we've seen a lot out of JJ in the first couple weeks, right? We've seen him handle the whole Bronny situation. We've seen them win. We've seen them lose, right? And I think now is when we get to see how good of a coach JJ Redick is. Like I've said before, when it comes to the NBA, being a great coach has less to do with knowing the actual game of basketball, meaning the X's and O's of the game, and has more to do with how are you able to lead 12 men to the same goal. That's at the very core of it. That is what their job really is to do, and it is the most difficult thing for them to do, right? You get 12 guys in a room, you'd have a difficult time deciding what food you're going to eat, let alone getting them for 6-7 months, however long the season is, 82 games, game in and game out, on the same page, at the same time, right? And I think that's what that's what we're about to find out. Because if the issue with his team right now is effort, and guys not paying attention to the little details of the game, well then we can't even judge you on your game plan because they're not executing it. And the question is why? Why don't you have this guy's ear? Why is he not playing hard for you? And so those are the things that we're going to find out about JJ Redick. And I think it'll be great growing pains if he's really going to turn into a great coach that a lot of people think he will be, right? Because he obviously knows basketball really well. He knows the X's and O's. He knows, pace, rhythm. He understands players and their tendencies. So I'm sure, and he's a very meticulous person if you've heard anything about his workouts, right? So I'm sure when it comes to being prepared, he could do that for you. But will he be able to get everyone to be on the same page? Now, give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Fuck. All right, hello. Hello. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys, I had to go take that phone call real quick, but we are back. So, before we move along, right, we're gonna talk about Bronny real quick, who's supposedly gonna go down to the G League this Saturday, and I'll be honest with you. At this point, it kind of looks like. He isn't gonna have an actual NBA career. I mean, I'm sure players have come up from the G League that have had some success, but when it comes to being great, which is kind of what people want out of him, right? I don't know if that's the way to go, especially when you think about the G League. It's such a dog eat dog world. Everyone's fighting to get a contract. Growth isn't the primary thing, right? Actual growth to fit an NBA roster isn't the goal for everyone. And you know, people want to say, oh, he's going to get playing time there. Yes, right? I'll be honest, I wish he was on a different team, because I personally think that he'd be able to get more minutes that way. He's under such a microscope right now. I would imagine the love for the game has dwindled a little bit, right? You know, this is why I was really pulling for him to go to the Warriors, and you know, it was great to see their report that they were thinking about it. Because I really thought that situation was great, being under a Steph Curry that he can learn the game from, right? Obviously, LeBron can teach him a lot about the game, but when it comes to being successful at that size, Steph would be the greatest teacher. And in that system, to play defense, hit shots, and cut, it would have been a great situation for him. But he's obviously on the Lakers, and this is his situation now, and he's gonna try to make the best out of it. But like I said, I don't think he's gonna have real much of an NBA career the way things are going. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have I don't think it's really gonna happen for him like that. So moving right along to another star, up and coming star in the NBA, or not another, to the up and coming star, Anthony Edwards. This is what he had to say about his 3-ball.
And over him, so.
Man, what would you say to somebody who said you shoot too many threes?
Simple, yeah.
You might already touched on this, but like you enter the game in the fourth.
I get it, right? He's worked on this part of his game, and he's not only proud of it, but he wants to showcase it, because this is also where the game is now, right? But other players aren't Anthony Edwards. They don't have his bounce. They don't have his explosiveness. They don't have his finishing ability, his euro. They don't have all of those things that he does. And he's shooting at a great clip right now, right? He's shooting at a really great clip. But I do think that he needs to figure out a way to be able to shoot a bunch of threes but still get to the free throw line. Right now he's averaging 28 a game, 5.9 assists, 5.9 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 48% from the field, 46% from the line, from three, and he is averaging only 4.8 free throws a game, shooting 65% from the line. So, you know, when you look at someone like Jayson Tatum right now, right? Take a look at this. Jayson Tatum right now is at 30.2. He's shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three. He's shooting 11.4 3-point shots per game, but he's also attempting 8.6 free throws per game. So, yes, you can shoot your threes, which is fine. And we're talking about an NBA that has more possessions than ever, right? But don't let it diminish your ability to get to the free throw line, your ability to get in the paint, because that part of the game is so valuable and no one else can replicate what Anthony Edwards does. Every possession he's not attacking the rim, that big gets to rest. That big gets to not worry about anything. And even the defender in front of him, if he knows every dribble you're gonna, he has his little in and out, like little side dribble that he goes with the left hand that he does into like a little punch step. If he's gonna do that all game, then hey, man, like, I'll shake your hand. You go shoot 70%. But otherwise, we can play the law of averages, and at least you're not putting anyone in foul trouble. At least you're not putting pressure on the defense. We get to just play a scoring game. And so him, like LeBron, right? That's your valuable asset, is your ability to attack the basket, your athleticism, your strength, your finishing ability. All of these things are pros for you. But like I said, it's where the NBA has gone. And I think it's much less to do with, oh, you're shooting too many threes. And it has more to do with you need to be able to shoot that many threes, but also, get to the free throw line at a high clip. Because you see what that does. And we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics and Jayson Tatum. Because speaking of three-point shots, this is a team that averages the most three-pointers in the entire league. And you're talking about 50 three-point shots. Here, let me see. They're averaging 51.2 three-point attempts per game. The closest team is 44. And you have a Jayson Tatum that's shooting almost 12 threes a game, but he's still getting to the line 8.4 times. I mean, those are the numbers that you want to get to. You want to be able to do both. That means you're more choosy with your threes. But that also means that the Boston Celtics are able to get, standstill threes for Jayson Tatum instead of all of these step backs, right? And I think Anthony Edwards talked about that, his ability to spot up. He really believes in it. He needs to be able to manage his threes so where a lot more of his three-point shots are those type of threes. The standstill, spot up shots, so that when he is dribbling the ball, he's more in attack mode. And I think that, and they've had success still, right? But like I said, I think they can manage those numbers, those ratios a little bit better. Now, when we talk about the Boston Celtics and Jayson Tatum, they had a big matchup against the Golden State Warriors. Jayson Tatum versus Steve Kerr. That was the story, obviously, right? And what we got was a great game, a great defensive game. And I'll give credit where it's due, right? I tip my cap to Steve Kerr because he did a hell of a job of coaching this game. And Jayson Tatum did what he can with what was in front of him. I think a lot of people, myself included, would have liked for Tatum to go and score 50 and get his get back. And the reality is this is just the Steve Kerr defense to blitz the ball handler, right? That's their defensive scheme. That's kind of their identity. And I think in the past couple of years, they've struggled with personnel, having the guys that could run the offense and the defense that he wants to run. And this year, it seems like he has the personnel to be able to run that style right now. And I think that's why they've had some success. Instead of him necessarily adapting to them per se, right? But that game, the Celtics versus Warriors game, it was masterful, right? You had the Warriors blitzing Jayson Tatum. So what they really did initially was take the Celtics out of their action early, So you're thinking, if a team gets to, I'll break it down for you guys like this, right? You inbound the ball 24 seconds on the shot clock. You'd really like to get into your offense 20 to 18 second mark and start running whatever it is that you want to run. Let's say it takes you 4 seconds to get into the half court, right? So you want to start running your offense at the 20 to 18 second mark. And what the Warriors were doing, because that was the initial point of what the Celtics would start, which is Jayson Tatum in that high pick and roll, them blitzing it wasn't just taking him out of the play and now he has to scramble, he has to throw a wild pass, but it was eating time off of the clock. And so now the team has to go in scramble mode on offense and trying to find the shot, and they can't necessarily run their offense, the sequences that they want to run. And the Warriors capitalized on it, right? Steph didn't score initially in the game, and they were really able to build the lead once he started, really getting into it. And there was a moment in the second half, not in the second half, in the second quarter, where, for the Warriors, he was on the left corner. He was waiting for a pick to go up top, right? And they were top blocking him. Tatum was. So he was on his hip. He was, Tatum was behind him on the baseline, top blocking him, right? This is what's great about watching a game in its entirety. Instead of doing what he would normally do and run around, the wing to get the ball at the top of the key, Steph bodied him up and just ran straight towards the rim. And then when he got it, he had the presence of mind to slow down, take a bump from Tatum, and draw a foul. It was in the middle of the Celtics having a run. He broke their momentum. Tatum was complaining to the ref about the call. It was brilliant basketball, right? Steph Curry was able to accomplish so much with just that one thing. So now, right, when the Celtics are defending him, now they have to keep in mind, oh shit, he could just cut to the rim. Now you have to play him a little bit more even, right? You got to play him more natural, more the way you're supposed to, right? You can't force him one way, essentially. And so the Warriors had the lead, I believe, through the first half, right? And then the Celtics came back. And a big part of why they came back was because they stopped running the high pick and roll with Tatum. They would do the pick and pop with him and Derek White to get Tatum some shots in isolation, but they took that away. They were moving the ball. Derek White was doing his thing, and Tatum was kind of catching it on the second rotation of the basketball so he can get a one-on-one. And he was able to get a bunch of threes off. And, they ended up getting the lead at one point until they reverted right back to that same offense they were running in the first quarter. That got them in trouble to begin with. Now, I do think it was for a reason, right? Joe Mazzulla is not an idiot. I do think that he went back to it for a reason. One being that's their offense. We've talked about identity a lot, right? And you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, essentially. You have to be able to stand with what you came there with. And for them, that's one of the main things that they run in their offense. And so I think a part of it was that, right? They were ego challenging them, basically, knowing what they were going to do. I think the other part of that was research. Okay, so this is what they do whenever they're blitzing. This is how we could counter it. Because now Joe Mazzulla was able to see how it looks in the fourth quarter when the game is in the balance. And so now you get to take that film and learn from it. Because other teams are probably going to start trying to do the same thing, seeing the success that the Golden State Warriors had. And so I think that was a huge part of it. And at the end, they were still in the game until obviously the Warriors started hitting all of their shots in the last 4 minutes. But the game was still in the balance up until that point. And so that was really great to see, because we were seeing two high-level teams, two high-level coaches really going at it. And I know I've given Steve Kerr a bunch of shit, but he did his thing. I got to give him credit. I can't not give him credit. Now, I do think that the Golden State Warriors are legit. Their personnel looks good. They're able to string points without Steph Curry. Their bench is able to inject energy into the team, kind of how, the early Warriors teams were able to do that. Their bench was able to do that. And so they have the mix of, the good ingredients in their mix. And then when you have a Steph Curry, you always have a chance. Some people will say, oh, they were able to beat a Boston Celtics without a Jaylen Brown, without a Kristaps Porzingis, which is fine. But that's still a good team. And in my eyes, they won that game off of their game plan, which is a real bright spot for the Golden State Warriors, right? To not win off of just your talent. To not win just because people are making shots that day or that night. To be able to have a game plan to execute it and win because of it means that you could do that with other teams moving forward, which, this adds to the evidence that they are a legit team. Now, they're going to have to do this again and again and again, right? Before we can start really considering them a really good team in this league, because they didn't even make the playoffs last year. So, yes, they do look legit right now. But, everyone is allowed to reserve their, everyone has the right to change their minds still. But kudos to them. Kevon Looney was massive in the end of that game. Dre was also really good. It was just, it was just good all around. Now, no phone call. All right. Now, to go from the team that's, the favorite in the East to my New York Knicks are just supposed to be contending with these guys. We got a big fucking problem, man. We got a big fucking problem. The New York Knicks have no enforcer right now. Every single game this season, you've seen Jalen Brunson get tackled, get mauled, get hip checked, anything that you could think of. Other teams have gotten away with Jalen Brunson. And a part of the issue is the fact that he is such a physical offensive player. So referees, knowing that about him, they also allow the defensive player to get away with probably a little bit more than they would when it comes to like a Steph Curry or a John Morant, for example. Because Jalen Brunson really throws his body around on offense. And I think that's why they give defenders a little bit of room to be physical back with him. So that's number one. I've seen a lot of instances where Jalen Brunson gets frustrated at these guys. He starts cursing at the people defending him because of how they're guarding him. And there is no player out there that sticks up for him, that hip checks or shoulder checks somebody. No one's out there to do it. And that is a massive problem when it comes to having your superstar player play like a superstar. Because that sometimes is the difference between some of those little gaps that he's able to have in the driving lane. Is because a player isn't going to be so tempted to stick a hip out and really hit him, because they know someone is coming right back at them. We don't have that on the New York Knicks. Everyone on this team is a nice guy. Yeah, we've seen Josh Hart get heated, but he's a nice guy. Everyone knows it. Mikal Bridges is a nice guy. OG Anunoby, nice guy. We don't even have to talk about Karl Anthony Towns. And Jalen Brunson is the feistiest one. It was like everybody used to joke about the Pistons, right? Because they had, the bad boy Pistons, Bill Laimbeer, they would all hit everybody, but they used to always say the toughest one there was still Isaiah Thomas. And he was, but he didn't have to be that all the time. And I think that the New York Knicks need to allow that same room for Jalen Brunson so that he can go and just play basketball. Like, we don't even have to talk about fucking X's and O's with them right now when this guy is getting tackled on every play. And they've figured, okay, ISOs, we got to put somebody bigger on him. Oh, okay, and now they're going to let them be physical. His game now becomes that much more difficult. And now he's forced to take a bunch of these threes because the offense isn't running smoothly. He's in an isolation situation. That now takes away some threes that would have gone to Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, who's supposed to be their biggest three-point threats. So, yeah, it's a problem. It's a real problem that we have right now. And I was going to come in here and talk about Mikal Bridges shooting and Dante leaving is it looks even worse because of how Mikal's been shooting. But you look at it, Mikal's shooting at a higher percentage than him this year. But he still doesn't look like the best three-point shooter on the team like he was supposed to come in and be. And, now with Cat here, Cat is probably a better three-point shooter, but they are supposed to be the guys shooting the three-point shots for the New York Knicks. But we just really need an enforcer for our captain. That's really where this gets to. So I don't know, man. We're in a tough spot. I don't know what move. I don't know. I'm at a loss for word with my New York Knicks, man. I'm at a loss for words. Now, last thing, and then we'll get on out of here. Jimmy Butler is going to get traded from the Miami Heat this year. And it's not even going to be necessarily because Jimmy Butler is a bad player or even the age necessarily. Even though I do think Pat Riley was kind of pissed at him at the end of last season. But Tyler Hero is ready and prepared to take over that team, to be the number one option. And he had a little taste of it in the playoffs last year. And he's averaging 22 a game this year. Honestly, their real big problem is Bam is only scoring 14 a game. That's really the big problem. But Tyler Hero is ready. And every single day, every single game, I think the Miami Heat get closer and closer to that realization, which will allow them to just trade Jimmy Butler. Because that kid is ready. And I'm not even saying it as necessarily like, oh, he's going to do a great job. He's not going to do it. He's ready for the role. You could tell by the way that Tyler Hero plays that he wants that. And when you start seeing that out of a player, it's hard to get them backwards until they try it out themselves, until they know what it's like to have 20 plus shots a game. All of the blame is on you. All of the glory is on you. Until a player goes through that, it's hard to scale them back. And I think he wants that spot right now. So I think that the Miami Heat are going to have to make a decision, because this kid, it's not going anywhere. And he could shoot the shit out of the ball. He fits this new style of the NBA. He's learned how to be a better decision maker in the pick and roll. This kid looks ready. And I think that because of it, Jimmy Butler is going to get traded before the season ends. And that's my prediction. But before I get out of here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It really helps the channel grow. And as always, y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me. And I really appreciate you for that. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. I'll see y'all later, man. Peace, 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 peace.